Hello everyone, my name is Peter. Welcome back to the channel. First things first, I have a microphone now. It's clipped onto my shirt just here. It's a very cheap microphone, but I figured that I really needed one to improve the audio quality of my videos. So I actually used to have one a couple years back. I had a blue Snowball, but I broke it in a very annoying and embarrassing way, which I'm not going to talk about here because I can't be bothered. Let's just move on. This video is going to be the first of a new thing I'm starting called Album Spotlight. I'm essentially just going to take one album or piece of music and spotlight it for a video. I'm going to talk about what I think makes it compelling, what makes it interesting, what makes it special, just what makes it a good listen in general. And while I'm almost certain I'm going to suffer quite heavily in the views department on this one, I thought it would be a good idea to start this series with something that's a bit more unknown rather than a more obvious and popular choice. The body of work I'm going to talk about today is called Abstract Works from an artist by the name of Peace Tape. Now, I'm almost certain you've never heard of Peace Tape, and I don't say that in a judgy, hipster, condescending kind of way. I genuinely think that you've never heard of them because they are quite an unknown artist. And when I say unknown, I'm not talking like 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, or 5,000, or even 1,000. No, in fact, as of the recording of this video, Peace Tape has, are you ready? 4 monthly listeners on Spotify. Yep, you heard that right, just 4. And while it is cool to be one of those people, hopefully that number, by the end of this video, takes any kind of increase. Now you may be wondering, if Peace Tape is such an unknown artist, how on earth do I know about them? Let me explain. I'm currently at university studying popular music with sociology, and in one of my lectures in popular music we had a guest speaker called Sarah who came in to talk to us about the ins and outs of her record label Reckless Yes, which is actually the label that Peace Tape is signed to. She was talking about various different artists that are signed to this label, and when Peace Tape's name came up, she mentioned that he makes droney and electronic soundscapes, which immediately reminded me of some of my favourite contemporary artists like Oneohtrix Point Never, as well as Tim Hecker. She also talked about how Peace Tape chooses to keep everything about their identity completely hidden and off the internet, which only made me more intrigued because I was just like, who is this person? Who is Peace Tape? What is their music? I have to go find out. So as soon as I got out that lecture, I went on Spotify, looked up Peace Tape, and saw that Abstract Works was their only work to date. Cue the transition slide that tells you that this is the part where we start talking about the music, okay? Yeah, good? Good. Abstract Works is very short in length, standing at just 7 tracks and a mere 17 minutes. Peace Tape's intention for these tracks was for them to feel very much separate and disconnected. I can't remember where I saw this, and I probably should have looked it up before hitting the record button, but I remember Peace Tape said somewhere that these tracks can be listened to in any order, and it's up to you, the listener, to interpret what you get from them and how they make you feel. And from listening to this album a couple times since I heard it a few months ago, it definitely does have that loose and unpredictable feel, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. While this album isn't like the best and most developed thing I've ever heard in this genre, it does do very well at packing a lot of interesting and compelling ideas into such a short 17-minute runtime. A lot of the sounds on here are very hypnotic and very entrancing. Most of the songs are just 1 or 2 minutes in change, so they'll just give you a short, brief idea. The opening track, Eating Alone, is a very good example of this. It features all these sounds that pop in and out of the mix very quickly, and by the end, it makes my head kind of spin a little bit. The following track, Walking Through the Wind, actually kind of reminds me of like some early Tim Hecker stuff. Maybe sounds like something that could have been on Harmony and Ultraviolet. I have no idea if Tim Hecker is an actual influence on Peace Tape, but that's just the kind of reference point that I drew from hearing this. This song is very cavernous and cacophonous, and it feels like I'm descending slowly into some sort of dark abyss. Peace Tape throws in some harsh and heavy distortion towards the final third of the song, which then just abruptly cuts out of nowhere, and honestly it sounds amazing, and it leaves me dizzy and disoriented by the end of it. Men Waiting for Something is a very dissonant and tense moment, and even though Peace Tape insists that these songs are very much separate, the vibe and the overall atmosphere of this track carries on really well from the previous track. This song kind of makes me feel like I have landed in the dark abyss and now I'm kind of reluctantly tiptoeing around scared of anything that might pop out at me. Like I said before, this album mostly consists of short and brief ideas that, while they are very intriguing, they might leave some people wanting a little bit more. But when Peace Tape really takes an idea, focuses on it, and stretches it out into something more complete and long form, it sounds amazing. The best example of this happening on the album would be the song Richter, the foundation of which is this distorted and droning guitar riff, which is accompanied by some very beautiful and melodic ambience, and these combination of sounds create something that is kaleidoscopic. This main motif kind of fades out into a different sound for the last 2 minutes, and these last 2 minutes kind of give me like strong Radiohead Kid A vibes. It kind of reminds me of those lush soundscapes you'd hear on a track like How to Disappear Completely or the title track. This song very much sounds like the centerpiece of the album, and it shows that Peace Tape has a lot of creative ambition and potential moving forward. There are a few moments on the album that are a bit more forgettable and nondescript than the others. For example, the song This Machine is a Fountain, which is essentially just 1 minute of this extremely distant and extremely quiet rumbling sound, and it doesn't do anything, it goes nowhere. This leads me into a bit of a general critique I have of the album. A lot of the drones and the field recordings, or whatever they may be, just don't pop out of the mix as much as they could do, and as much as they do on certain tracks. It would be awesome to see Peace Tape follow up Abstract Works with something that's a bit more consistently in your face and abrasive. A couple of tracks do that very well on here, like the song Richter, which was genuinely one of my favourite songs of 2019 in retrospect. At the end of the day, Peace Tape is almost completely unknown and has one project under their belt, which means that there's so much room for artistic growth and development. Abstract Works has done a great job at grabbing my attention, and even though I have no idea who Peace Tape is, and I have no idea if Peace Tape is currently working on a new project or not, I'm very excited to see what direction they go in next. If you're a fan of like experimental electronic and drone music, I think you could enjoy and get something out of this album, and you should definitely follow Peace Tape's trajectory from this point on. And that concludes my first album spotlight video. Even though this album is like far from being one of my all-time favourites, I thought it'd be very cool to start with this because it would show you guys a new upcoming and unknown artist that you never would have heard of otherwise, and you might feel some of the same excitement that I felt when I first heard about this artist. If you do go on to listen to this album, please let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Also, feel free to leave any video ideas and suggestions, because you know how hard it is to think of those. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more music related content like this. It's been a pleasure, but I will see you in the next one.